Welcome back to Cottrello Talks, the podcast from your boys over here at Cottrello Games. We've got the full crew here today. My name is Michael, as you know. Matthew is here.
Yep.
Austin.
Hello.
Trevor.
What up?
Oh, we need like little catchphrases. Anyway, today on the show, we are taking a look at our dearest Super Smash Brothers, mostly because there's only one character that is left to release in there. And over on We the People, we've speculated on what should happen or what is most likely to happen. You know, we're probably going to get another JRPG swordsman, but, this podcast is about who do you want and why. You got to make the case for why this character should be in, why it would be awesome, and so on and so forth. And you might get a little rebuttal from the other boys. We're gonna go through this and just kind of you got to make your best case and see where the chips fall. Anybody feeling real good about going first?
Yeah, I'll go first, probably because I would think I probably have the most to say about my character, but.
All right, let's do it, Matthew. Who do you think should be in Super Smash Bros?
Well, I'm sure it's no surprise to any of you, but I think...
It's Buster Kong.
Yeah. He's not even a real Donkey Kong character. He's not part of the DKU, so...
the DKU needs to rewrite itself then.
He's part of the multiverse. It would definitely be Crash Bandicoot if I had to pick one. I mean, Rayman would be the other choice, but definitely Crash. I honestly feel like they should both be in, but just based on pedigree and star status alone. But Crash especially, I just feel like he's always been part of that triangle as that exemplified the console wars back in the day, with Mario representing Nintendo, Crash Bandicoot representing Sony, and Sonic representing Sega. And those three always kind of competed with each other and went back and forth and battled for supremacy. That's why the Crash Bandicoot advertisements that they started with were him on a megaphone in a costume outside of Nintendo's headquarters saying, hey, plumber boy, it's just, I don't know, I just feel like that alone, just the fact that you would have arguably the three biggest names in gaming history, because you could really argue that. I mean, just because Nintendo and Sega were so big, and Sony, that was their first big thing that they came out with, and so...
Well, certainly in the 90s.
Yeah.
And Sony's never really replaced Crash with anybody. They just keep bouncing between, whoever's hot at the moment. And Sonic is still huge, but not quite as huge. But yeah, I think you could make that case.
Well, I'm saying, like, even they did a PlayStation 4 commercial sometime in the system's life cycle where they featured Crash on the front of it with Kratos and somebody else big. And I remember thinking, like, they still kind of market Crash in a way that he appears to be Sony's mascot. He was even Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, was what is that called when you're the headline of a show? I guess that's what it'd be. But it was the headline game of a State of Play presentation, which I thought was really interesting, being that it's not a first-party PlayStation game, but they made it like the big game to talk about first, and so I think they've always regarded it that way. And Crash is just, the iconic. I was going to say iconicness, but I don't think that's a word. But I don't know. Everybody knows that character. He's that big. He's that beloved. There's a reason why when they made the Insane Trilogy, it sold like crazy. And I don't know. I just don't think there's any character out there that really rivals the, would be as nearly as big an announcement. You could argue Master Chief from Halo, but I don't know. I really think Crash is much, much bigger because it's been around a lot longer than Halo has. But that's the only thing I could think of that would be in the same stratosphere. But like I said, I just think completing that holy trinity, so to speak, of Mario, Sonic, and Crash would be really iconic and special. Just kind of bringing the console wars full circle. And I think also, I remember there was a poll for Melee back in the day where they asked people in Japan what characters they would want. And the only character that was on that poll that hasn't appeared in Ultimate is Crash, which I find really interesting because Banjo and Kazooie were on that poll as well. But yeah, I just think that would be the most hyped announcement. I always picture like the trailer could be something really interesting too. I've told you this before, Michael, what my idea would be for this, but how they did the King K. Rool and Banjo thing where it starts off with a slideshow of like enemies. I think you would start off with a slideshow of platforming characters, and you would get to the treehouse and you would see, instead of Donkey Kong yawning, it's Mario yawning, and him and Sonic are hanging out inside the treehouse, and then they hear something outside spinning, and they think, oh, it's Crash Bandicoot, but it's actually Incineroar because he has a spin move, and then Crash comes in and spins him away, and I think that would be so sick. But or it could be Crash in the Mii costume to kind of signify the whole or be indicative of the, you know, him on the megaphone telling Mario to come outside.
Yeah,
because I would assume they would have a Crash Mii costume if he was in the game. But
yeah, that's a good addition. You guys have to come up with like a trailer concept too. The one that's always been in my head is like it just starts in real life with the Mario mascot, and then someone's screaming out the window. It's literally the guy in the Crash suit, and then the Mii costume gets confirmed, and then like a minute into the trailer, the real Crash comes. Something punchy like that would be really funny. But I like your idea too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really feel like you could do so many interesting things with the trailer. And like I said, I don't think there would be as hyped an announcement. I think Banjo and Kazooie were by far the most hyped. Steve would probably be second, but I really feel like Crash would blow all of that out of the park. Like I said, not even for people that just like the character, just like I said, just for the fact that it brings the console war idea full circle. The fact that these three characters are finally in the same game. Because there's so many, if you just go on the internet and search for those characters, there's so much fan artwork, so many ideas people have as far as having those characters in the same game. It's something so many people for years have always wanted to see. And, you know, it'd be really great if that finally happens. I don't have any faith that it'll happen based on what we've seen in the last two Fighter Passes, but, you know, I'm looking at Fighter Pass 2, and I'm hoping that he's kind of like the Banjo and Kazooie announcement, but I feel like Steve was probably that character. But, you know, a man can dream. I'm really hoping it's him or Rayman. I would have liked to get them both. It's honestly, to me, a crime against gaming history that those characters aren't in the game. But, you know, it is what it is. But the good thing we got, you know, Pyra and Mithra and Sephiroth.
Prominence revolt!
Byleth. There's so many bad choices, but that's a topic for another day.
What would Crash play like though?
I mean, he would spin a lot. I don't know. I've thought before, like there's some, you know, he could have his sliding move as a dash attack. He could use his bazooka as one of his specials that he had in the third game. He has a jetpack in the second game. You could use that as a recovery move, or the repeated spin as a recovery move too. Obviously, most of what he would do would revolve around spinning, but I always thought of one cool concept you could have for him where like he could have, it's not really like a counter. It's kind of like, let's say he's doing some sort of spin move and you dash into him and attack him. You'll come out flying on the other end. Kind of like in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that level with the tornadoes where if you go into it, you'll, like, let's say the tornado's on your right and you dash to the right, you would come flying out to the left. And I always thought Crash could have some move like that where, you know, you might dash into him with an attack and then you come flying out the other direction. Kind of like a cyclone, you know. But other than that, I mean, I think they would just have to, you know, come up with moves from scratch. Obviously, the belly flop would be a move that could either be like a down special or just a down air. That would have to be a move. Really, it's the belly flop, the slide, and the spin that have to be moves. But other than that, you know, bazooka for the special, jetpack for a special. The final smash would probably have to do something with crystals. Yeah, or Aku Aku. What am I talking about? Aku Aku would be the final smash. Boobraka.
Yeah, you gotta have the belly flop. That's the move that I see being like the most fun in it, and they could make it like the exact same speed as the games where it's like a little bit slow, but it over prioritizes like everything.
Yeah, I would love that move to be a shield breaking move, kind of like Bowser's down B or his sit move. Like, I think that would be really great. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I I think there could be some interesting gimmick with him too, where like most of his moves require like mashing, kind of like how Bowser's up B or his up special, when you do the whirling fortress, he's the only character that is like that. And I don't know why they didn't give it to Donkey Kong. It makes me mad every day that you can't mash B to go higher. But they did that for Bowser, and I imagine Crash could have some sort of deal with that with his spinning moves. But yeah, like I said, I don't have any faith in it happening at this point. I feel like it absolutely should happen, but that's kind of
his up B could be a bouncy box.
Yeah, it could be an arrow crate too. That's a good point. Yeah, you could do something with the crates, but yeah,
great.
Or the TNT. Which would also probably make it into the trailer where Minecraft Steve's TNT's there, Crash jumps on top of it and it pulls
that'd be pretty funny.
That would be cool.
But that's about all I got.
Anybody object to Crash being in the game?
Nah,
no,
it's Crash.
I just like, I the spirit of this episode is to like argue with it, but yeah, you just can't really like, it. I mean, Crash should have been like the first or second third party character, just because of how it's like, interacted with Mario, where like, Master Chief is probably like a bigger character at a lot of metrics at this point, but he also hasn't ever interacted with Mario at all. Whereas like, it was the whole ad campaign, which makes it similar to Sonic, where like it was really like those two against each other. And Crash won, dude. The PlayStation
honestly
eviscerated the Nintendo 64. Well, and so that's what's interesting about it.
Well, and I think Crash almost became a bigger rival to Mario in a lot of people's eyes than Sonic did, because I feel like Sonic started to fade and Crash really just was, it feels like the success was so massive and so swift. And, 3 games in, and then you get a kart racer just like Mario Kart. And I think Crash, it's funny because in a lot of ways, Crash always did what Mario could do, but did it better. Because I look at Crash Team Racing, and that's a far superior game to Mario Kart 64. Like, I'm sorry, it's not even close to me. Not even in the same ballpark.
Is like so much, in a different stratosphere.
Yeah, so I just look at Crash was doing a lot of the same things. Crash Bash was almost like a Mario Party game, even though that wasn't made by Naughty Dog. But I just feel like Crash almost became a bigger rival to Mario than Sonic did. And, Sonic being in Smash was such a big deal when it happened. I remember everybody, Snake was like, that's cool. But when Sonic was in Brawl, that was like insane, and I just think Crash would be also the perfect note to end on, where like the last character is something that kind of brings this whole ideology full circle. This thing we just used to, talk about as the 3 juggernauts in gaming, the 3 faces of gaming, So, that's all I got for Crash, but I think he deserves it more than anybody. I know Trevor used to object to the fact that he shouldn't be in Smash just because he's more of a PlayStation character, but to me, I'm like,
that'd be my only argument.
To me, I'm just like, that's what's cool about Smash, is that they have third-party characters. And honestly, it's a crime. That's another thing I hate about where they've gone with this Fighter Pass is, why can't we get any Sony characters? Like, what about Jack and Daxter? What about Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Kratos? Kratos would be a little weird because isn't he like a Greek mythology character too? He's not a video game character first.
Well,
so I think that'd be
like
the only.
He is. I don't think
he is.
I don't know. He's like an inserted into Greek mythology, but he's like the video game version of it.
Yeah, but to me, I've always been a little upset about that. It's like, why can't we get a third party character that doesn't come from Capcom or Square Enix? Like, why can't we get one that comes from Sony? And that's been the part that always upsets me. But also, and this has been my biggest thing for Crash and Rayman from the jump, is that, Activision and Ubisoft have done more for Nintendo than a lot of these companies have. And the fact that they don't have a character, to me, is a joke. I'm sorry. I look at the fact that there's some of these characters like Terry, like Kazuya, like Sephiroth that literally do nothing for you. And yet Ubisoft's made games for Nintendo like Mario versus Mario and Rabbids, Starlink, Activision put Donkey Kong and Bowser and Diddy Kong and Skylanders. Like, I don't know. To me, it's honestly a joke if neither of those characters get in just because of that. But
they do
that's
have
all I got to say on
Assassin's Creed for Ubisoft. They have a outfit.
Yeah, well, and they have me. Yeah, they have a Rabbids me costume also, but I just, like I said, I just think that's a joke, and it just speaks to the favoritism that Sakurai has because I the whole Nintendo's picking the characters. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, that Nintendo didn't ask for Terry or for Joker or for Sephiroth or for Kazuya. Like, I'm sorry, they didn't. Like, that is all Sakurai. Like, I would be willing to bet every dollar in my bank account on that because it just doesn't even make sense business-wise, So, I feel like Crash, plenty of Crash games on Nintendo. Rayman, plenty of Rayman games on Nintendo. Plus, those companies have done a lot for you. It just makes sense. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Can't dispute it much myself. It's like... Yeah, like he should have been in the game before Snake was, but Snake was kind of the special case where it's just like, the guys like knew each other and it was, wouldn't it be cool if Snake is certainly a misfit in Super Smash Bros. And like Crash, you could see like would have fit much better. Not to say that I don't like Snake, I like Snake, but yeah, I mean, it's weird that he's not in at this point, especially with all the like cross marketing that they do with the Nintendo Switch. Like Crash is typically in all the Nintendo Switch trailers. He's got, eye level placement in retail stores sitting next to the likes of Mario and Donkey Kong, and so it's weird.
That's why I think weird. If Nintendo was picking all of these fighters, he would be in, because I think Nintendo would like to have him in because they use Crash to market their material in a lot of ways, and so it makes a lot of sense for them. And I think Nintendo had a hand in Banjo and Steve, and I think that's literally it. And also probably the Nintendo characters that are in, but I'm sorry, you can't convince me that Nintendo even wanted Byleth or Pyra and Mythra. Maybe Byleth because it's to market an upcoming game, but Pyra and Mythra, I feel like if it was Nintendo's choice, they would have picked Rex because he's the character you actually play in that game. He's the protagonist. Even though you use Pyra and Mythra, of course, but Rex is so much a bigger deal because he's the focal point of that game. And so it just, from somebody who's played it, and so I don't know. I think it's all little. I think what's more likely is Nintendo gives Sakurai a list and then he tells them which characters he's willing to do is probably more close to what actually goes on there. But anyway, who wants to throw their name in the hat?
Trevor.
Next.
Me. Oh man. Mine won't make any sense. I think it will
That's
be
okay. We'll just tear you up and down if it doesn't.
Yeah, it would because most people like, I don't know. I think Matt would hate me for it. Because it like literally wouldn't make any sense. But if I had to make, yeah, you're funny. You're really, really
be better than what we've gotten for the most part.
You're really funny. No, for me, I would say Ajna from Indivisible. I think just what that game is, just it being this hand drawn animations and everything. I thought that was just really cool. This independent game that people have been waiting for years.
Are you talking about the main character?
Yeah, the main character.
Okay.
Because
like
none of the
Google
other characters.
about.
Yeah, the main character from Indivisible, the person on the box cover.
That would be the first character that's an indie character to be playable in Super Smash Bros. You would want from that game.
Yeah, because they've already canceled Shovel Knight. But if it was, I would understand if somebody said like a Shovel Knight or something like that. But
Shovel Knight's an assist trophy. That's a big deal. There's never been I don't think there's been an indie character that's an assist trophy. So
listen,
I don't know, man. I don't know how you could say anyone indie and not Shovel Knight.
Listen,
or Shantae, even Shantae's big enough, I think. But
let's hear his case, and then let's
listen. Indivisible. That's the only indie game I've ever gotten. So for me, yeah, that's what it would be. But if somebody else said like ukulele is just a knockoff of Banjo and Kazooie, but if I really had it my way, if it wasn't Ajna from Indivisible, it would be Cuphead. But they've already kind of discounted Cuphead too.
I guess it can be it's okay if the character appears in Smash in some way, because like K. Rool was a Mii costume, and then he was a character. So if they really wanted to do that for the DLC pass, they'd do it. Like it's like they could have definitely put Springman or like they definitely could put Waluigi in before the Fighters Pass is over. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah. I don't know. But
that'd be your most wanted character, though.
because I mean, I hear the stuff that people say, but because I don't, at this point, I don't really care about anybody else.
Oh no, but I'm just saying, I'm just talking about, because I've heard you say characters like Dixie Kong before, and I'm like, you'd rather have that character than like Dixie, or
as the last character, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'd like Dixie. There's a lot of people I like. I like Dixie. I mean, I don't want to give up all the answers, but you know, I think for me, no, okay. All right, now Ajna, Cuphead. I say Cuphead because I don't know if that counts as indie.
Sort of. Yeah, I mean, it's an indie game with a good
indie.
relationship with Xbox, but yeah, I think, I mean,
I think Cuphead would be. I think he'd be an interesting character. I think he looks. He looks funny. He looks interesting. It's like literally, it's a cup. It's a mug. Cuphead and Mugman. Like, and that could be his like Echo Fighter and everything too. It's like Mugman and everything. I think that would be really cool. You know, just how he hopped up on the scene. Just the hand drawn mechanics. I think it'll be really cool to have like a trailer when you know, it's like one of those it's like an old 20s cartoon or something like that, in all black and white, and you see the Super Smash Brothers characters in like black and white hand-drawn drawings, and it has the music and everything, and then they're like, I don't know, like talking about them, about the fight or whatever, and then next thing you know, Cuphead comes up on the scene. I don't know, the idea is just literally, I just freestyled that, but just something cool like that, to bring in what Cuphead is and what it was, and what it does. I don't know, I think that'd be really cool to see. That's my take on it. So, you know, I don't know. I think Cuphead would be a really cool character.
I mean, I think he would be a lot better than that other character you named. I think that other character, cool. If that was the final DLC choice, you would have a lot of people that
would riot in the streets, what? For sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay. I'd rather have Waluigi
more than Byleth. I mean, I don't know.
Well, not more than Byleth.
Yeah, Byleth's different, but that's just like because of Fire Emblem.
He's the
fatigue.
Objective worst character they could have added in a DLC pass. Like, I think you could literally have picked anyone else. I mean, I think Shadow Mario would be more hype than.
I'm just saying, but like, you know, of the things that we have, Ajna is different enough. Ajna is acceptable. I mean, I don't think that's anything.
Yeah, the problem I see is that just like so many people haven't played that game. Where it's like, it is an awesome game. I look forward to playing it at some point. I was waiting for them to finish the game, but now they're not going to finish the game. So
Michael's just mad because you can't play with Shovel Knight in there.
I am mad that I can't play Shovel Knight in there. Mostly because they promised that you'd be able to.
Yeah, let's put in a character from a game that's not finished.
I mean, the game is finished. They're just not adding DLC characters.
Yeah, it is a complete game that sells at retail, but they didn't fulfill their Kickstarter promises, which is even more awkward coming from like a game studio that is like actually established. Like, these are the guys that make Skullgirls, I think.
Yeah.
And which is like an established fighting game, which I could see a Skullgirls character getting into Smash. There's like this, you know, obsession with getting fighting characters in, and that would be like a female rep, of which there haven't been many. But definitely be a cool moveset. I mean, it's a cool concept and character. She like turns into these different spirits.
Yeah, are you talking about Ajna?
Yeah,
it's like it's a girl character. It's different. It's like you know, it's so much that goes into that. I mean, the animations and everything, I think that'll be really cool. It'd just be different. And
it's an RPG game, and though it's just not a JRPG. But
it's not a JRPG, and it's not like, I don't know. I think it's so much that goes into that, and I think it just would. I like anything that's just against the grain. And like, who is this character? Who is it? And I think if it was somebody in the fighter pass, I think if we weren't in the place that we are now, where we just fed up with the fighter pass and who are these random people they put in there, I think we'd have a different conversation. Ajna is just not so out there. It's no different than a piranha plant. You know what I'm saying? I think Ajna is kind of cool. Now, if I would have really,
you just compared it to a terrible character choice.
I'm just saying, and a lot of the people they've included have been terrible characters. You know, it's not my fault.
But I'm not an advocate for it, because a lot of these have been terrible. Let's do other terrible choices because it can't be any worse. You know, that's all the more reason to do better. I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many characters there, because even not talking about, like, you know, I said Crash, I said Rayman would be great too. There's so many characters though, like Doom Guy, like Master Chief, that are out there that, like, I don't know, man. So many characters that are just slam dunks that make all the sense of the world that, I I think I would take Mighty Number 9 over the character you just named.
I don't know who any of those folks are.
It's from a Mega Man indie game, or it's an indie game that was made by the people who made Mega Man.
I would take the stick from Pong.
Dude, I would take Pseudo Wudo over the character you just named.
Yo, Pseudo Wudo would be hype, though.
I mean, but how many Pokemon characters do we have? After a while, I'm like done. Like, I'm cool, bro. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I guess
we don't need any Pokemon. If the last character was a Pokemon,
the big mistake they always make with Pokemon is they keep adding the same sort of types. Like, Incineroar, they should have gone a little wackier than Incineroar and gotten someone who's like
more people wanted.
Different type.
I would have loved to see Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee.
Like a fighting Pokemon. True fighting Pokemon.
There's people complain there's too many first gen guys in Smash, but Decidueye was way more popular than Incineroar as far as like Smash, like people talking about the characters they wanted. So like I know a lot of people are happy with Incineroar, but I remember there was a lot of people who really wanted Decidueye.
I think the reason that they didn't put him in is because he was going to be in Pokken. I think that was. I feel like I read that in an interview somewhere.
Because Decidueye would have been so much cooler than Incineroar, but
yeah, I don't know. The funny thing with people saying like, there's too many Pokemon in the game is like, okay, but Pokemon is like so much bigger than any other franchise in this entire game. So
I mean, that's cool, but I say that with anybody. I think that's the biggest problem with Fire Emblem. I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of these franchises.
Well, Fire Emblem, the biggest problem is that it's like the most. It might be. It's at the bottom of the barrel as far as like Nintendo's popular franchises, and they get the most love. You would think that Fire Emblem was like bigger than Zelda, when it's like, it's not even as big as some of the indie games we're talking. Like Cuphead has outsold every Fire Emblem game in existence, I'm pretty sure. I might have to double check my numbers, but it's outsold everything before the 3DS games, and probably has outsold Three Houses, I think. So it's like that's the funny thing with Fire Emblem, but it's like Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon is bigger than Mickey Mouse. Pokemon is bigger than Marvel Cinematic Universe. Pokemon is bigger than that's where I'm just like, Incineroar feels like they're going back to the same well. Like there's too many fire types, and I agree. Like you could cut out a few of them. Like Jigglypuff doesn't need to be there. You can get rid of Jigglypuff. You can get rid of Pichu, of course, and then put in some of the other like wackier types. I don't know, but Cuphead is I can't really argue much with that one. It feels like one of those characters that just should be in, fits very well with the roster. He represents a different kind of franchise, a different kind of genre that isn't typically represented, and then brings his own unique flair and style. It's like that's But if Cuphead has sold 5 million units. So that's bigger than Fire Emblem Three Houses, and that's bigger than Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem Three Houses and ARMS put together.
I always love funny. I always love there's this really popular opinion on Twitter, or they talk about unpopular Nintendo opinions, and when I say it's the most popular thing people love to say is that Fire Emblem is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, and people are just mad at Smash. And it's like, dude, just look at the numbers. Like, Three Houses is the best-selling game, and I think it sold over 3 million, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty decent. Not bad. That's also on the Nintendo. You said what? What?
3 million is respectable for Nintendo Switch.
No, but I don't know, man. I think for the Switch, for how well it's selling, I think like games can do so much better than that. I mean, like Tropical Freeze sold close to that, and it's a port. Like, I don't know. I think the only games that have underwhelmed that were Nintendo first parties were Yoshi's Crafted World and Kirby Star Allies. Like that to me didn't do as well as you would think based on or given the Switch's success. But I don't know. I think Fire Emblem, given its install base. I mean, I look at Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, sold over 2 million copies on a system that sold 13 million. And it's like, you're telling me you sold 1 million more on a system that's on pace to be the best-selling console of all time, and that's like something to marvel at? Like, I don't know. I think it's not to say it's bad. I just don't think it's great either. I don't think that constitutes the opinion that like, oh, this is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, and you guys are just ignoring it. It's like, I don't know. I don't think that's that impressive. Like,
well, but what I'm saying is like, so Fire Emblem is the 26th best-selling Switch game. as far as like the Nintendo published ones. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze right behind it. So I mean, it's like it's not
26th for Nintendo games.
Or wait, not just Nintendo games, but also third parties. So like Monster Hunter Rise has already blasted through 7 million. Among Us has already blasted past. But you know what I'm saying is like you like Fire Emblem Three Houses is pretty respectable sales in that like it passed Mario plus Rabbids, Xenoblade, Yoshi's Crafted World, Pikmin 3. Like, you know, it didn't do
I just
terrible.
think it's also you have to factor in the fact that like part of the popularity comes from the fact that they market it more than anything else through Smash. And I just think like you have that works in its corner as well, and it's still not anything like, I don't know. Like I said, to me, I just look at all the factors, and for me personally, I don't find it to be like anything that dictates the opinion that, oh yeah, this is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. It's like, I don't know, man. They used to calculate the sales numbers for that series in the thousands, which tells you everything you need to know.
Well, in the tens of thousands, but yeah, I'm not saying it's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. That's a joke. But
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just talking about that opinion.
But Three Houses in particular did pretty well. That's all I was laying saying there. But yeah, Cuphead has outsold Fire Emblem Three Houses and ARMS put together. It's outsold the entire Xenoblade series, and it's like. That's the funny thing with people have this like weird rule where like indie characters can't be in Smash, but it's like if indie characters can't be in this game because they're too insignificant, then we got to get Shulk out of there. We got to get Pyra and Mithra. You know, I forget they're in the game every once in a while. You know, we got to get a lot of those Fire Emblem characters out of there. It's like we probably might need to get Earthbound out of there. I mean, that didn't sell super well, but anyway. Yeah, I don't know if I can argue with Cuphead. What you talked about his reveal trailer. What would he play like? Would he play like kind of like Mega Man?
Yeah, kind of. I think so. I think shooting beams and everything. Yeah, I don't know. This is all coming from somebody. I haven't even played Cuphead yet. So it's like, I don't know. I just respect it, man. I respect his grind. I respect what he has to offer, and I think that's just something to be appreciated and valued. And oh no, at this point, I just want something different. I don't want to see a super serious, oh yeah, man, kicking behind, taking names, man. Yeah. I don't care about those kind of characters. So Doom, Master Chief, get out of here. I don't care. I want to see a fun character for the first time in like 2 years.
That's funny thing is, as somebody who beat Cuphead 100%, I actually feel like you would hate that game. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played in my life. And the whole game is just boss fights, and there's a few platforming levels, but you do that to earn currency to buy weapon upgrades, and that's really the only purpose that they serve. But the bosses are just, you basically are going to play every boss at least like 15 to 20 times, if not way more. And I'll never forget this one that was a giant robot, and you're in a plane, and how long that took me, and I wanted to cease to exist.
Yeah, I want to give it a shot. I feel like that'd be really fun on co-op.
Yeah, on co-op, I think it would be a lot of fun, but single player was, I don't know. I mean, it's still a great game, but I definitely loathed it.
Too bad. So sad.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, if you're not clicking with the game and it's too hard, that can be frustrating. But, yeah, Cuphead could be interesting. I'm sorry, Ajna, I don't know about that, Trevor.
Ajna.
Would be fun, but not sure that's happening. Does that game have voiceovers?
Yes.
Okay, so it is Ajna. Cool. Very cool. Austin,
which one of you guys are...
What character?
Well, I have a request for a brief sidebar. Just real quick, I want to get your guys' opinion. What do you guys think about the Mii characters in Super Smash Bros. That you can kind of
It's
customize?
Just like a fun. It's a fun way to like throw a bone to people who aren't gonna get their character in Smash, and that's what they've done. And sometimes you can look at the Mii costumes as like who's on the bench to get in the game next, because they probably look at the sales of these costumes, and that's, I'm sure, what partially why they brought K. Rool into the next game. Yeah, and like Crom sold like 10 costumes. Like, see, someone likes it. Let me put them in the game.
So that being said, I know the balancing it would take would be insane, but if they could expand the Mii character creation to where you have a little bit more variety of the moveset, I think a lot of I have like 10 characters, and I think that most of them are not worthy of being in the fighter pass, but would make
Pick
great
the one
costumes.
Yeah,
Just go down the list and then pick one character who you're going to make your case for.
All right. So, of course, I was going to say, Cuphead and Vault Boy, which are already costumes. Those are, great, I think, as costumes, but they could be full characters. All right. You ready? Here we go. Cranky Kong, full character. Pauline, Waluigi, sorry. Toad, Spyro, Peely from Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I already said Cranky Kong, didn't I? Who am I missing? Oh, Birdo. And, of course, Kirito from Sword Art Online. We need another animated sword character. I can't keep a straight face.
Dude, that would be the funniest thing, because people would be like, oh, I thought it had to be a game character to get in. But if you watch the anime, Kirito is the avatar inside of the Sword Art Online game.
Yeah.
I can totally see Kirito getting in.
Then, of course, Lara Croft, that robot from Fortnite, and last but not least, Carmen Sandiego.
What, the book? From the
No,
books?
How many of these are even
1985
How many of
game.
these are even video game characters? Because that is a
All
stipulation
of those are video game characters.
No, so there's a rule in Smash Sakurai has that he will never include somebody that didn't originate from a video game. If there's somebody that, like, for instance, Spider-Man's a video game character, technically he's been in a video game, but he's not a video game character. He comes
Which of
from
those are not video
comic
game
books.
characters?
You said Terminator. That's one.
Oh, okay, well that was a total joke.
And he has been in a video game.
But who's pick your best candidate and make your case.
I think Birdo. I think having some. I'm not like a huge Yoshi player, but having some kind of like similar character to Yoshi, that she could be like shooting the eggs out of her mouth, more like a sniper versus Yoshi lobbing him around. I think that Birdo would probably be a really good one. And Carmen Sandiego, I have no idea how that would play, and that would be awful, and people would hate it, but I like the idea still.
But, okay, so Birdo's your main case. I
think so. Out of those, Cranky Kong would be a good one. The reveal trailer is just, I don't know, Luigi getting blasted by Birdo in the level from Melee, and then
that's where
Birdo,
she comes from, and they gave her a voiceover in the Game Boy Advance version. Why, I never. It's really weird.
It's Yoshi's wife, right?
No,
I think it's
Birdo.
So opening, okay, a worm's eye view from the ground shot rises up. We're in a wedding venue. Who is it? Oh, Mario's the best man. Yoshi, he's getting married. It's Birdo. Bowser comes in, wrecks the wedding. Birdo turns around and drills him in the face with an egg. Then cut to black, and Sword Art Online characters all start flooding in. Birdo's taking them out one by one. Bam, 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 bam. No more anime characters in Super Smash Bros. Get out of here! And then flashes the banner across. Birdo, Fighter Pass. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, Birdo's a funny character because it's the English manual for the game she originated in refers to Birdo as a man who thinks he is a girl and would prefer to be called Birdetta. I don't know, like, if some of that was like lost in translation, but it's part of the funny nature of like just that character, because they would never let that like character be created these days with how like sterile Mario is. But she was technically in Doki Doki Panic, which was not a Mario game, but they reskinned it to be a Mario game in the US. So yeah, get a Doki Doki Panic rep in there. Though my argument would be against it would be like it's another Mario character. If Piranha Plant wasn't in, I'd be more excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that yerp though.
What would her final smash be?
I don't really know enough about Birdo.
I guess she could eat someone and turn him into an egg.
I just love Austin. I don't really know enough about Birdo for his choice. Trevor, I've never even played Cuphead.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well, Birdo's made other appearances, like she was in Captain Rainbow. Captain Rainbow would be a fun Smash character. All right, I'll explain who Captain Rainbow is for everyone who doesn't know. It only came out in Japan and Taiwan. But it's like this game where a bunch of other Nintendo characters make appearances. Like I think Little Mac's in the game, and I know Birdo is. But there are a lot of like minor Nintendo characters. So like the plot is that he used to be like have a superhero show, but his TV show isn't popular anymore, so he has to go on an adventure to like, find himself. I feel like that'd be so cool.
Nobody cares. Come on, baby. Come on. What we doing?
Well,
nobody cares, Birdo. Nobody cares about you. I'm kidding.
Austin picked her, and he doesn't care about her.
Birdo would have been
honestly so far. Crash, I think, is the best option. I would jump on the Crash train.
Birdo would have been a fun character for like an echo of Yoshi, except she has like a few different moves. Like she spits eggs instead of eats people. But
I think
we
Pauline would
reserved
be a good one too.
our echoes for franchises that really needed it, like Fire Emblem. Woo! I fight for my friends. Yeah. I love Fire Emblem Awakening, but I just can't stand that Crom and Lucina are in the game. Anyway,
I love how I said "yerp" and then Trevor's "yeah."
Yerp yak indeed, fellas.
It's just a whole. We should make like an ASMR or whatever those are. Just Trevor's sound effects. Yerp.
But it's like distorted, like yerp. Yeah. Well, alrighty. Let me take us home with the definitive best choice for the last character in Super Smash Bros.
Take him home.
It's got to be Shovel Knight, my boys. It's got to be Shovel Knight. I mean, like, Smash is, they're all about representing characters big and small. They'll put
too small.
They'll put super obscure characters in, like Xehanort Warriors and Fogel Emblem and all these like obscure Nintendo games that don't have any presence. I mean, Fire Emblem got in the game before those games were even like stateside. We got Kid Icarus for the mega niche pick, so it's like, no. If you're gonna put characters like that in, it's time for Shovel Knight to be in. Now, why should Shovel Knight be in as opposed to any other indie character?
Well, I like him the most.
I like him, but Matthew, you got to ask why I like him the most. Do I like him the most because, I don't know, I like the color blue, or I really like shovels?
No,
or do I like him because he is
suit of armor.
The best? Yeah, that first four figures they did where he takes off his helmet, he's actually like a little fish man. Like, that's awesome. But here's the deal with Shovel Knight, which makes him the superior indie choice. Shovel Knight has a relationship with Nintendo that a lot of other indies don't. His game came out to the Wii U and the 3DS and was like featured in a lot of stuff leading up to release. But also for the Japanese market, Nintendo actually published the game. And so it's technically a Nintendo published game, depending on the region that you're talking about. Shovel Knight not only has an amiibo, has a line of amiibos, my boy.
Oh, you
can
better
get
tell
4 different Shovel Knight amiibos. Yuck. And that's before. This is like way before anybody else. I don't even think the third-party Smash amiibos had been like created yet. It was like pretty early on in that game, and Shovel Knight like really represents the indie flavor more than even a lot of other indie characters, because his game was kickstarted and they actually finished all the Kickstarter goals. They actually made all of them. So it's like this character that rose up through fans and made its way on the market, still was a monster success after that and continues to be. And I mean, moveset wise, like, look no further than Rivals of Aether. Shovel Knight's moveset in that game is like near perfect, and Smash could just like accentuate the different moves that he has, but he's just so versatile. You got the shovel scoop, you got the shovel pogo jump,
You got
and
the
then
gabagoo.
beyond that, you got the gabagoo, you got the stromboli. But in addition to that, you've got all the other weapons that Shovel Knight has. So Shovel Knight has like these little gears that he throws on the ground, and you can use those to help you platform. He can briefly turn invincible by using this like cloak that turns him invisible. He's got a fishing pole that he could use for grabs or for other stuff. He's got a like what else do we have? He's got the war horn. There's so many different items that Shovel Knight uses throughout his games that would make his moveset just as wacky and all over the place as Mega Man's is. And then, of course, you've got a character using a shovel. We've got a million sword characters, no shovel characters. Come on. Like, Steve doesn't even use it to fight.
Yeah,
it's
but
a shovel.
But the only issue I'd have with that is that he would play like a sword character, though, and that would be the part that would be unfortunate, but...
Well, it might be, but he wouldn't play like a sword character, though, because a shovel isn't a weapon that you make like large swipes with, and that's what makes sword characters both annoying to play against and very what's the word like very samey for I'm not remembering the actual term, but it's what makes them feel very similar to each other, because you have you look at like Marth, Roy, Corrin, Ike and all those characters, and they all have to do some sort of sweep or some sort of stab, and that's like the only type of moves that they have. But the movement of Shovel Knight's attack is a dig. He like scoops into the ground, and then he like comes up. So it would be like an interesting hitbox. It could I think in Rivals it has 2 hits in it, and so you have this like sort of more interesting moves that you would do with it, where he like scoops and then out and then thrusts outwards. He's got one move where he slashes, but it's like a very like controlled slash. It's his charge attack, which would definitely need to be in the game. And then you've got the shovel pogo stick.
Definitely.
Like, my boy, the shovel pogo is so iconic. Started with Scrooge McDuck, and they just imported that into Shovel Knight. It's good stuff. And then apart from that, you've got what are all these other items? I'm pulling up the Shovel Knight game now.
I'm laughing at it. I know what reference you're making, Trevor. He's definitely an agent. Definitely.
Shovel Knight's got the propeller dagger. He's got the chaos sphere. He's got the throwing anchor. My boy, there's so much that you could do with his moveset. And by proxy of like who Shovel Knight is, you would be... He kind of like exists as this loving reference to an era of gaming where, inside of the Shovel Knight games, you can see like little bits of Zelda 2 or Castlevania, Mega Man, Super Mario Bros. 3. You can see a lot of that stuff sprinkled in there, but it doesn't like define who Shovel Knight is. It's just like a character as if it was like created in that time period. And now, as far as the reveal trailer, I don't know. You'd be digging a hole or something, and people would look down and I don't actually know. Maybe you'd emerge from the Troople pond, but it's like, I mean, we're overdue for an indie game getting in Smash Brothers. I mean, that's like, if Smash is a celebration of gaming, saying that it's like only a celebration of gaming that's like venture funded and makes multiple millions of dollars a year is like that's not really what gaming is anymore. Like video games have changed. The market is so different now, where a character like that could get an amiibo, cameo in a bunch of games, sell more copies than most of the Fire Emblem franchise. And it's time for us to get an indie character.
Hey man, I'm with you.
I don't know. I think Shovel Knight would be a good choice. I just feel like there's so many characters that I would choose before him just based on the history. Like for me, that and I know people don't look at Smash the way I look at Smash, but I look at it more as like a celebration of gaming. And I just think, to me, there's so many characters that have been around for years and years and years and have made a big impact on gaming and have yet to appear in that game. And that's why I like Crash, Rayman, Master Chief, Doom Guy. There's some other characters, I don't know why I can't think of them right now, that I think are really deserving of spots in Super Smash Bros. But I don't know, I just that's more so the way I look at it. I really like Shovel Knight as a character, and I think it'd be cool to have him at some point. I just feel like there's a long line of characters to me that should get in before him. And, unfortunately Smash, they don't care about any of that. They're like, oh yeah, man, we'll add some character that nobody asked for, that nobody cares about. But, that's, I know that they don't do it based on relevance or biggest impact or anything like that. So, but that would be like my only rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, so like I feel like that's a good point, but it's like, at what point do you let one indie character in, even though there's like some third party character out there who should be in but hasn't? Like, yeah, there's a bunch of characters who should have been in like games ago. Like Rayman should have been in the Wii U Smash. Crash should have already been in Ultimate. I definitely see those things, but we've got. While we don't have all the like big characters that we'd want, we don't have any playable indie character, and they get relegated to these weak spots of like me costume or assist trophy, and it's like, why? Because they're less significant than Pyra and Mithra, than Noodle Arm Girl.
But
like,
I don't like categorizing indie characters as different than third parties. To me, it's either first party or it's third party. Like I don't like because then I feel like it creates this pedestal that, like we don't have any indie characters, so we need one. And technically Steve's an indie character, so I feel like that already has been done. If you want to be
by one of the top 5 corporations.
I'm just saying though, if you want to be technical about it, like that's an indie character. And I just think, to me, I try to put them all in the same category because I feel like, I never want to get into a situation like they've had in Smash where it's like, they have to have a retro character every single game. That was a thing they were doing ever since Melee, it felt like, where there has to be that one character that comes from that age. And it's like, I don't like rules like that. Like, to me, it's either, first party or third party, and just do it like that.
Well, but there's also second party. And like I said, Nintendo has published Shovel Knight in Japan, which makes them a second party studio in some respects, and so it's like,
well, I mean, there'd be a lot of second party characters already, though. I feel like, isn't Xenoblade technically a second party thing?
Yeah,
Pokemon might even fall into that.
Well, Nintendo's an owner; they just don't own it all of the Pokemon company. But no, I just think that like it's I don't know. I find the lack of and I think like even besides all of that, I feel like Shovel Knight's got a good case. Even besides like some of the, like you could take any like 2 of the reasons that I'm talking about like the moveset potential, the character's relevance in pop culture now, the like the recognizability of like being on Target shelves for like, almost like 2 years in between all of the different packs of Shovel Knight amiibo that came out with, him being like a launch title for Switch, and it sold better on Switch than every other platform that they had been on previously. So there's like a big Nintendo following specifically that Shovel Knight has, and it's like I feel like you could just take like 2 of those reasons. It's like, put a like, should Crash or Shovel Knight specifically be in? It's down to those 2. Which one am I picking? It's like, yeah, that's a pretty tough decision. And I feel like you could make a really good argument for Crash being in the game at this point, or Rayman. I feel like those are like the most egregious people being left out. But it's like, I don't know. Like I also just totally think that Shovel Knight could have and should have been in the game, and I imagine they saw a lot of votes for him on the ballot, and I imagine that's how he made it into being an assist trophy.
But it's different if you're arguing like if they had a game and you're like, pick 10 characters. That's different. I thought this was pick the last character of DLC.
Yeah, well, and I honestly feel like someone like Shovel Knight would be a great pick for the last character in the DLC pack, just because it's like it's out of left field. People wouldn't necessarily be predicting it. Would it bother me that Crash didn't make it into the game? For sure, but it's like that's already happened with like Rayman's probably not in this game, and we just have to like we just have to I have to like get over that, and it stinks, but it's like
we got
like
Sephiroth though.
One of those guys isn't in the game. Yeah. Umaiwa. Yeah, a character that's so big that they didn't even bother to voice him in English. That's how cool Sephiroth and Cloud are.
I mean, listen, Sephiroth is a cool character. It's just the timing is just terrible. I think if the DLC thing was different, I think if we'd have gotten more Pokemon that were actually like, respectful to what Smash is, I think it wouldn't be as much of a case. But it's the fact that like, okay, how many times are we going to get no shade Japanese sword character? Like, come on, dude.
It's also it's Square's third character. I think that's the biggest part people ignore is the fact that you have 3 third-party characters that come from one company, and I just think that's stupid. Like, I'm sorry, like I just think there's too many companies that do a lot more for you than Square. And I'm not even going to get into history of Square and Nintendo, but
but it is funny.
It's one of those things that they've had I know they have a good relationship now, but there's been times where they haven't. And the fact that they're bending over backwards to not only put in 3 characters into the game, but when they put Cloud in, like the amount of content they weren't allowed to use, the fact that they're not even voiced in English, like you were saying, and the fact that 2 characters come from one game, like to me, I would have rather had, I don't know, Eggman, like two characters from Sonic get in before 2 characters from Final Fantasy.
Or they could have put in Lara Croft if they wanted another Square character without it being like,
right.
dipping back into the same thing.
Right, but they choose.
It should be mentioned that Final Fantasy VII was like the game, a turning point where where Square decided to never release a mainline Final Fantasy game at launch on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah,
that was the turning point. So it's you couldn't pick a more PlayStation-centric Final Fantasy game to include in this game, and then it got like 2 characters. Is it cool? Yeah, but it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense from a hype standpoint because, even as big as those characters might sound to some people, they very rarely appear in games. They're not, because of the nature of how Final Fantasy works, but, darn it, I had another point, but I just lost it. Oh, from a business standpoint, though, it just literally makes no sense. I mean, like, there's characters that you could have put in this past that would help you sell games for your platform. It's like me playing Sephiroth and Smash, the only thing it would ever want to make me do is play the Final Fantasy game that I can only play on PlayStation, which is the remake. Like, I find that to be so...
Or if you want to play the next Final Fantasy game that's coming out only on PlayStation as well.
I mean, like, that's just...
That one's not even coming to Xbox.
Like, I don't know who makes some of their business decisions, but it's just like, man, like, I don't know. I feel like I could get a job working, high up within corporate of Nintendo, because if that's the type of decisions you can make for a business and get away with it, like, sign me up, man, because I got plenty of dumb ideas, too. Like... I mean, heck, I think I could get away with putting in more Donkey Kong characters, and at least that would make sense. At least that'd help him, maybe sell more Tropical Freeze copies, help him sell the new game that's coming out,
Yeah. I mean, and I do think it's funny that, like, when Sephiroth was confirmed, I'm like, oh, man, Trevor's going to be so happy. And I talked to Trevor about it. He's like, yeah, I saw it. And it's like, man, that stinks because Trevor loves Sephiroth.
Yeah, I think he's arguably, if you were to ask me, I think he is the most iconic video game villain ever. Like, that's how I feel about it. I think he's incredible, but I just think Smash is to the point where it's like, all right, fam. Like, they've hit the all right, fam mark. Like, all right, fam. All right, when are you going to do something different? All right, when are you going to bring somebody we actually want? All right, like, listen, Sephiroth is amazing, but we have too many of his type in the game already. Like, bring somebody else. That's why I said something like Ajna, because at least she'd be different. Like, I don't know.
That's been killing me with Fire Emblem characters too, because I'm like a huge Fire Emblem fan. But it's like you just keep adding the sword lords. Like, you could at least add like Hector, who had an axe and like a heavy suit of armor that'd be different, or like Lyn, who has a bow and arrow and like a curved sword. It's like, you know, at least do something different, but they keep adding just like, I am the Lord character. I have no personality because you're supposed to impose your personality on me. I fight for my friends.
I have a name for every attack that I do. That's the worst part about all these characters. Like, Pyra Mithra is exactly... I mean, it might as well be another Fire Emblem character. Just has a name for every single attack that she throws out. I'm just like, I'm so tired of... All their trailers are the same. All their attacks are the same. The way they present their attacks are the same. Their personalities are the same.
Looks like I'll have to use my anime powers to get through this one.
They always start off by getting beat up, too. And then they're like, time to turn Super Saiyan. I mean, like, time to get stronger. You know, like, I just, like, dude, I feel like I'm constantly watching, like, an episode of Bleach or something. You know, I was about to say Dragon Ball Z, but that's giving them too much credit because I actually like Dragon Ball Z.
It's like at this point, I feel like I don't even feel like Goku would be weird. It's like,
I said that to you. I'm like, dude, at this point, put him in. At this point, you've already done enough anime nonsense that, like, at this point, Goku would just fit in, you know? At least he'd be a little different. He wouldn't have a sword. He'd fly around. He'd shoot, you know, energy blasts, you know? Like, at least he'd be different.
Goku from Dragon Ball.
I mean, listen, as much as I love Goku, I think he'd be such a dumb character choice. But at this point, it's like, man, if you're going to do all this anime, at least put in the anime character, you know? But
that hurts.
Yeah, but
anywho.
Well, and I'm looking at Shovel Knight in the assist trophies now. I don't know if this is like an accurate list, but he's the last assist trophy in training mode. So I wonder if it was like a
I think
addition.
That goes by... It goes by
franchise,
some order
maybe?
because if you look at Mario and then
Mario,
Donkey Kong and then Zelda,
yeah.
Okay, no.
But I mean, yeah, Shovel Knight, like he's so awesome even in this this thing where they've got him doing his moves. He scoops the dirt. He does his pogo jump. It's like, put him in the game, man.
Hey, man, he can go scoop. He can go scoop dirt in Brawlhalla, okay?
Like he could
Rayman.
be, well, he's only a costume in Brawlhalla. He's not a character. But I think, yeah, man.
Rivals
Well,
of
you
Eighth
could,
there. Let him
you could
scoop
start,
dirt there.
dude. You could start Shovel Knight's trailer with him. You know, it's just we're at a graveyard. There's digging. You see on the tombstone. Here lies Geno. Here lies Rayman. Shovel Knight is filling their graves with dirt. My
gosh.
Oh!
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well,
Matthew be so upset.
no, I wouldn't.
Okay,
at
Matthew.
this point, I'd be pretty happy, to be honest. But
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a funny last question to end with as we're wrapping up here. Is there which like at this point, which character edition would make you like uninstall that game?
I mean, I'm like 3 characters past wanting to uninstall the game. Like, I wanted to uninstall the game when Sephiroth came out. I remember I was like, man, I can't wait to start a Smash YouTube channel, do all these, and then, you know, it's like Sephiroth, and then Pyra Mithra, and then Kazuya, and it's like, I don't even care anymore, man. It's one of those where I'm just like so dejected from all of that. Like, it has no impact on me anymore because I just have come to expect that. But I think what would really put me over the edge would have to be it would have to be somebody. It'd have to be another Fire Emblem character, probably, or Xenoblade character, something like that. It would have to be one of those. And Xenoblade only has 3 characters really in the game, but you know, just it's more so just because it's another
too many.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it has as many characters as Donkey Kong and Kirby is, another. And mind you, we only got a 3rd Donkey Kong character because he happened to win the ballot. If it wasn't for that, we would still have 2, which is just the most hilarious thing that people overlook is that we still didn't get Dixie Kong or anybody. It took a ballot in thousands and thousands of people saying we want this guy just to get him in the game, which is
you
just
see based on the stages
wild.
that they weren't planning on adding any Donkey Kong content at all.
Yeah, but it would probably have to be a Fire Emblem character that would get me to or Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia. That would really be like the nail in the coffin for me, where I'd be like, wow, okay, yeah, no. No. It's like the Joker when Batman's interrogating him. He's, no.
What about you, Trevor? What would be that one character that would just make you uninstall Smash?
I mean, Matt kind of stole the answer, but like another Fire Emblem character. Would
it be fair to say that Fire Emblem's inclusion in Smash has made you want to play the game less?
Yes.
Because that's definitely true for Xenoblade.
I will never touch one of those games because
like
of
I have zero interest in Xenoblade because of like how they appear in Smash. Shulk made me interested, but Pyra and Mythra are just like, oh, do I really want to like play this game?
I can tell you would.
They had to censor the costumes of one of the girls. It's like, yeah, I'm too old to be like, drooling over anime.
I mean, I can tell you, you're not missing anything unless you long for having to get 30 hours into a game to fully understand it and start enjoying it. Then you're not missing anything.
I like complex RPGs, so it's like the gameplay even like works for someone like me. But yeah, it's Smash. Like I feel like you gotta be like subtle and inviting with that stuff. Where it's like I've always been, I'm a huge Fire Emblem guy, and when all the Fire Emblem fans are even kind of like tired of the Fire Emblem editions, like you've gone too far. It's like I should be excited for a game character from honestly probably one of my top 10 favorite franchises. Like whenever a Fire Emblem game comes out, I clear my schedule and I just like do nothing but play Fire Emblem for a week. And like my answer is almost the same. Where like if they added another Fire Emblem character, which they might, because there's allegedly a remake that is close to completion, and so you could totally see them adding a Fire Emblem character from that remake to end the pass, because it might be what's it called? People are speculating that it's a remake of the Smash game that Ike is in. And they could add Black Knight as a character, which I don't know if he's come back as a Mii costume yet. But like you could totally see them doing that. And so I think honestly, there's more of a chance of getting a Fire Emblem character.
I will be calling Nintendo and demanding a refund. I know I won't get one, but it's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
You and your Batman quotes today.
Yeah, man.
Everything burns.
Feeling like the Joker, huh?
Yeah. No, it's just because he's so funny in that movie. And it was just the Dark Knight's anniversary a couple days ago, so I saw some clips from it that I always remember making me laugh. But
very quotable.
I mean, but that's not about the money, because I know I wouldn't get a refund. They have it clear as day that you can't get a refund for installed DLC, but it would just literally be like about sending a message that like, I don't want to pay for nonsense like this. I'm mad I even bought the second Fighter Pass. I'm mad I bought the first one. Like if I could do all this over, I would have only bought Banjo, which is just hysterical to me. That out of 10 characters, I would have only bought one. Like, yeah, it's crazy, man. I got
an answer.
I probably would have bought Hero and Steve as well.
I don't hate Hero. I don't hate Hero or Steve, but definitely not Min. No.
Yeah. I mean, and I actually have an answer. What will make me uninstall Smash? You ready?
I'm ready.
Riding from Metal Gear Solid. I'm out. I'm out.
He was such a jerk in PlayStation All Stars.
Not even just that. It's just like we've seen this character 20 times. Like I'm out. Yeah. If they put, even though that was in another world,
he'd be way cooler. He's not like a.
Yeah, he'd be way cooler than the other anime sword fighters by like a mile and a half.
But still, it still goes in that same, you know what I'm saying, that same territory. Like we've seen this person just with a different name. And I think there are too many of those in the game. I think you can cut off, like, I would say at least a quarter of the roster because of stuff like that.
Man, we're gonna get so many dislikes and hate comments on this video because people do not like when people talk about the anime sword characters being
cheap.
Or no, just having too many of them. That really bothers people and
I
rubs
could just
them the
quickly
wrong way.
address the whole cereal box argument, and it's just like, yeah, I trend toward the more fun characters, the ones that you see on the front of the box of Super Smash Bros., the ones that get like, middle placement, like Mario and Donkey Kong and Pikachu, and like that's what I'm coming here for. But it's like there's still more adult characters that would have been cooler than a lot of these sword guys. Like, you know, put Master Chief in, put Lara Croft in, put Travis Touchdown in. And he has like a sword, but he's so different from all the other characters, and he's not from a JRPG. Half of the Fighters Pass, 5 out of 10 characters are JRPG characters that wield blades. 6 if you want to count Mithra. Like, it is majority JRPG. And so at this point, it's not really, like, unfair to say that you don't want another one of those. And that you feel like it's not super balanced.
Well, and I get all those characters are technically different characters, but what I wish people understood is that, like, aesthetically speaking, visually speaking, it's not that unique. It's not that diverse. And I think more realistic Japanese sword-wielding characters don't lend themselves to being able to be more unique. I mean, Sephiroth definitely stands out between all of those characters, but he's also still not that much more different. Whereas, like, you could put 2 similar-looking characters like Crash and Banjo next to each other, and they're still also completely different, you know, looking. And I think that's a big thing for me, is that I just feel like I'm looking at 15 characters that look like they could all be from the same game, and that's the biggest problem. I understand they're all different. I understand they all work differently. It's what I'm looking at that I have a problem with, you know, and I wish people understood that more. But, you know, for people, it's like, do you even understand that this character, their history, the things that they fight for, it's like, it's not about that for me. Like, it's about that I'm looking at all these characters that look like they're siblings, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
All right. Well, that's, Austin, what's that answer for you? What would make you uninstall Smash?
Probably Birdo.
And on that note,
I got what I wanted.
Ooh, can I ask a question? That's like I guess we can just try to hit it quickly.
You did ask a question.
Of all the characters that we just named, which one do you think has the highest likelihood of getting in Smash?
Crash.
I mean, yeah, but that's like what?
But also like
1% as opposed to 0 for all your choices.
None of us mentioned any JRPG characters. Honestly, like 50% of them have been JRPG characters. Statistically speaking, we have a much higher chance of getting a Fire Emblem character than we have of getting like a company that Smash hasn't worked with before.
Yeah,
like just statistically speaking, you look at the numbers of like between Smash 4 DLC and this DLC, like majority sword wielding JRPG characters. With both across both games, like you just can't argue with that data. Yeah, and Mewtwo was a character that was supposed to make it into the base game of Smash 4, so he doesn't even really count. Like Piranha Plant, those were like cut off and then added for free for people who bought the game early.
Well, you'd think it'd be more likely because they've only added one character like that, which is Banjo. So you would think, okay, like statistically speaking, you would think they have to do something that's kind of out there, but. Yeah, I just don't have any faith in it. I'm sure it'll be somebody that's assuming incredibly underwhelming that we kind of just are like, cool, yay.
So that scenario is assuming that they're going to try and like hit these different categories when, you know, I'm just like erasing everything I think about who should be in Smash and just looking at what characters do they add. Lucas and Roy to like put them back in the roster, Ryu, Cloud, Corrin, Bayonetta, and then you look at the fighter passes. It's just like based on what they have done in the past, because like they could have added Dixie back in Smash 4, they could have added K. Rool, they could have it's like they could have done a lot of stuff, but they didn't. And so like honestly, I feel like we are getting another more late teen to adult oriented JRPG character or something in the fighting game genre, because we also have 3 fighting game characters out of the 10 pass. So if you don't like JRPG or fighting games, which are fairly niche genres, and Smash, you know, is different enough from most fighting games for you to be a fan of Smash and not a fan of the rest of them. Like if you're not a fan of those genres, like you got Steve and Banjo. That's it. But but we'll see what happens. Let us know in the comments which character. But two questions in the comments. One, which character out of what we said do you think is the best, and what would your pick be? And you can pick an anime sword guy. We won't judge you much. But, all right, that's the end of this episode of Cottrello Talks. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, whether you're on a podcast service of your choice or YouTube. We'll see you next week for another edition of boys talking about random game topics. Yeah, nice.